All right, I'm back, Stephen Key and Dana Knowles. During this video, we're going to talk about what about the companies that you should not be pitching your ideas to. There is such a thing as the wrong company, and we're going to talk about it, so don't miss this video. All right, we're back. No, we're not back. We're doing these videos back to back to back because it's so much fun to do these videos. Dana, thank you for coming on inventRightTV. Just so everybody knows, Dana is the queen of Gateway. What's your title over there?
I like that.
The queen of Gateway?
I'll be the queen of Gateway, yeah.
I like that.
I'll be the first lady of Gateway. That's what I was.
Oh, okay. Whatever you want. You can have whatever title you want.
I know.
Title you want. Dana is really good. Her group over there, they're called the Gators. Mm-hmm. And they call companies all day long. You guys, they do this all day long. Mm-hmm. They know what companies to find to pitch ideas for our clients at Gateway, but they also know what clients to avoid. Ooh, let's talk about that. What companies do you avoid? Is there something that says, hey, watch out, we're not interested? Or do you even know that when you're first starting out, making your list, using chat? You talked about chat, your best friend. You make your list, but does something stand out to say, hey, that's a company that's probably not going to want to work with us?
There's a couple of things I think that come to mind. They don't have a website.
Okay.
Or their website is broken or doesn't work.
Okay.
Another one, and this actually just happened to me. I called the company and they tell you straight out, we're not, you can't reach anybody and you can't leave a message. And it appears to be a very good company, but that's kind of a little bit of a red flag. Like, why wouldn't a reputable company have some kind of customer service? And I understand, and some companies, and we have to be aware, some companies they do not have a listed telephone number. You cannot find them. Even chat doesn't even know. And chat knows everything. No. But even and so I asked chat why do some companies, and they just said because of massive amounts of calls that they get, they just can't filter them all. So basically you can get in touch with them. But this particular website I was on, they said on their voicemail to I could chat with them, do whatever. And there's nothing on their website to chat with them. You could only get in touch with them via online portal, question or whatever. And that would be a bit of a red flag.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. I'm not going to say who they are. You just can't get a hold of anybody. And it doesn't matter what you do. You cannot get them on social media. In fact, some of them, they might be in social media, but they don't allow you to contact them. They keep it very private. Sometimes there's they don't have a phone system.
Another one was I talked to a company and he wouldn't give me his last name. Why wouldn't you give me your that? That to me is, I don't know. I want to say, are you really that important, buddy? Come on, you're not really that important.
What about when they ask for a patent? Does that throw you off when they say, hey, we only look at ideas that are patented?
No, it doesn't throw me off. I find that very rarely, first of all, very rarely.
Okay.
And I find it with the larger companies like Procter and Gamble, Stanley Black and Decker, some other companies, and I get it. Conair. I get it. They are massive companies. They want to make sure that the product's protected before they even consider it. But those are the sharks of the world.
Well, some of them
companies, we don't find that. We don't find.
Well, some of them like Conair will say, look, you can file a provisional patent application, but we're not going to pay you unless there's a patent issued. Yeah. But some companies say, look, if you don't have a patent, we don't even want to talk to you. There's not a lot of those guys, but sometimes you run into those guys. To me, that's a pretty big red flag.
Yeah. And I think you have to take that one case by case. Who's the company? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about if a company, is there anything you can do to kind of see if they're inventor friendly? Maybe they have a bad reputation. How do you know? How do you know they're not stealing ideas? Everybody says that all the time. I get a message on the YouTube channel. Why don't they just take your idea?
Right.
How do you avoid those companies, or do you even know who they are?
I think every inventor has that fear. Just so if you have the fear out there, you're okay, you're normal. Every inventor has that fear.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing for me was to get educated on how companies really work. That
Oh,
after I learned how they work, I the fear just went away. And when I talk to inventors all the time, I say to them, listen, this is just think about it this way. So you reach out to a company and they say, yes, we're open to outside ideas. And you send them over your product idea and they say yes or they say no, whatever. I said companies that are open to outside ideas cannot take a chance of getting a reputation for stealing outside ideas, because
okay.
then people will stop sending them
Yeah.
innovation. And companies, I'll say this till
Work
the
on it.
cows come home, companies must innovate. They must innovate, and they are embracing open innovation, independent product developers more than ever. I've been in the business for almost 8 years now, and I've seen the transition to where many more companies are open. And I remember being at a trade show years ago at the Inspired Home Show, and they said, I was talking to somebody about that, and they said it's like an unwritten rule that you don't steal. Any reputable company will not steal someone's idea. But then again, how do you know if it's reputable or not? Well, and you said it, social media, their website,
Okay.
where do they sell? How much do they sell? How big is the company? You can find any of that stuff, online anywhere. But I think it's the education of getting educated, and then you find out,
Yeah.
what, and
There.
I've never heard of it. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
it's happened, and I'm sure people have thought it
Yeah.
happened to them. But this is interesting too. I'm sorry, Stephen. I'm taking over your show.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dana.
um, I was on a call one time with an inventor, and he said, I pitched my product idea to a company, and 3 months later it was on the market. And I'm like, and they stole my idea. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think so. They probably were working on it for a long time, and they didn't take your idea because they were already working on something like that. Because
Similar.
some people don't know how long it takes for a product from the time they see it to get it on the
Okay.
market. Even the simplest product can be a year to 18 months to get on the
All
market.
right. Dana, I've mentioned this to many, many people that once you make your list,
Mm-hmm.
of course, you might want to make sure they're on social media. If they're not on social media, that could be a red flag.
Could be.
If they've changed their name multiple times within a short period of time,
Mm-hmm.
not really a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can always type in their name, type in complaints and lawsuits, and you have to kind of look at that very carefully. If something pops up that kind of looks like, hey, I might not want to work with them, trust your gut, trust your instincts.
Mm-hmm.
But Dana, you and I both know there's a list of companies you want to avoid. I know who they are, but you guys can't really talk about those guys. We cannot share that
Mm-hmm.
information, but there are companies, and one way to tell is that there's usually real big companies, and they don't really highlight or they don't really talk a lot about it, about new innovation. They don't talk about the inventor. They never talk about the inventor ever. Most companies don't do that anyway, do they, Dana?
Mm-mm. No, I ran into a company the other day that had a whole inventor section.
Yeah.
They really, they're in a
They're
very specific subcategory,
okay.
and they really, because they rely on people who work in that industry to send them product ideas, because those are the people who
Okay.
work in the industry. So that was pretty cool. So they have a whole section on their website about
I like that.
inventors. And
So what happens if I look at their products? I'm going on Google and I see they have a lot of negative reviews. Is that a company I should reach out to that's just people are screaming at them, bad customer service?
I think how big the company is would depend for me. I mean, if they're a massive company, they're probably going to have. I don't look at Google reviews when it comes to companies, though.
Okay.
I've never. I mean, if I'm purchasing something or using a service here in my world,
Okay.
I would, but not
Not as a
when I'm
gauge.
researching
Okay.
companies. No, but you talked about lawsuits, and it's interesting. There was one company years ago, and I thought this company was just, I don't know, I got a feeling, I get that like sixth sense, the sentence, and I typed in the company name and lawsuits, and a lawsuit popped up.
Okay.
And I'm lucky, I'm glad that I like you said, read what it's about. And when I started reading it, I said they had a valid point. You know, they were sued and they won, but it was like somebody sued, somebody said they stole their IP, blah 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 blah, and it ended up they won anyway. But had I just looked and said, oh, they had a lawsuit, I'm not reaching out to them, that
So
wouldn't
do a
have been.
little homework.
Yeah, they ended up being a good company. They're a good company. They're a very good company. I know them pretty well now.
Okay, Dana, we're going to do a couple more of these. Thank you for coming on inventRightTV. This is the Queen of Gateway. What'd you call yourself too? The lady? What?
The first lady.
First Lady of Gateway. Dana, thank you for coming on. And we'll come back with another one shortly.
All right.
Okay, you've got a great product idea and you're not quite sure what to do. Or maybe you've got inventory in your garage because you were selling your product on Amazon and you don't want to continue doing it, but you want someone to help you license your idea to a company to bring it to market for you. We have a new program that's called Gateway, where we do all the work for you. We'll find the right companies and the right people to make sure your product is pitched correctly to get the licensing deal. This new program is called Gateway. If you're interested, please check it out.